You know, people are in general attracted by controversial subjects. I guess it's in our nature to be interested in things which we cannot possess or things which are promoted with aggression, developing some sort of a form of attraction or disgust. And based on my knowledge, the viewership or the people's comments, I put up a list of the most popular watch brands which equally receive a lot of hate. Because yes, people can hate things, but they still buy them. So let's get it on. Number 9. The Tissot PRX was the much needed alternative to the integrated bracelet concept developed by Gerald Genta. The PRX basically put Tissot on the map, making them to push this platform in any direction until they milk the hell out of the watch. As a result, people got excited at the beginning, they bought the first quartz version and then they bought the automatic version because it was an upgrade, and then Tissot started to add more and more exciting colors and sizes and complications until people got frustrated because the platform encourages the consumption of always owning the latest version, thanks to the social media and YouTubers which encouraged that. But still, the PRX brand is selling exceptionally good, being one of the most appealing and affordable Swiss-made watches. And don't make the mistake to think that it's entirely made in Switzerland for this price range. Tied up to the milking cows, we're looking at the new generation of the Prospex divers. Prospex, that's right, the X logo. Here's the thing, for all the Seiko purists, I know you hate the logo. I know you hate the McDonald's approach of launching entry, intermediary entry, mid-expensive, expensive, uber expensive and limited edition models, all in color dials and strap combos, milking their iconic models with shady reinterpretations, which became crazy expensive as well. I know I was there at the transition. I loved as well the $150 SKX, I loved the $200 Sarb or the $300 017 Alpinist. But we have to let it go, we have to move on. That era is forever gone. We have to embrace the X logo. And despite its hate, don't worry, Seiko is making big bucks out of the Prospex line. And then we are looking at the mushrooms after the rain, the new Seiko 5 lineup. Their strategy was to milk their beloved Seiko SKX 007 case to the bones and flood the market with all sorts of colored special editions, offering basically with one case hundreds of tailored watches for any enthusiast, age or preference. At the launch, people liked the new 5 designs. The first collection was pretty tastefully. Although concept-wise, this line wasn't offering a lume pip for the bezel or a higher waterproofness than 100 meters. But after oceans of bad designs and colors, Seiko succeeded to wash completely the significance and the respect of the old iconic 5 line, becoming pretty monotonous and predictable, trying to mimic the coverage in market of G-Shocks. But besides the 2023 spike of the vintage reissued 5, everyone pretty much ignores their releases. Rolex and the sub-brand Submariner is on this list as well, so don't be surprised. The iconic sub sits under the incidence of an arrogant watch as a sign of wealth which cannot be purchased with ease unless you pay extra. But the main reason is people had enough of the Rolex brand, getting tired of the content creators which stressed this subject for way too long. Some channels making quite a career based on the brand. So people had enough. A pure example was a few days ago when someone accused me that I'm looking to harvest views and attention just because I made a video about my Explorer 2 purchase, which concludes that people do associate the brand with a shortcut towards attention and views. And guess what? I can't blame them. Number 5. In this top, Pagani design cannot be missed either. This was actually the most conscientious brand to read carefully and interpret the rules of copywriting. Because without a shame, this Chinese brand basically replicated every successful watch ever existing. All the Rolexes, the hyped APs, the Patek Philippes, the Omegas, Longines, even the PRX, and recently, le crème de la crème, Santos de Pagani. And as a result, people which appreciate and collect genuine horology are totally disgusted by the brand's releases, but are equally people which find value in this brand, building huge collections of Pagani designs. And I'm personally not a fan of such replicas, but I have to admit, their offerings are not that bad finishing and materials wise. Hublot is one of the most hated watches all time. And I personally don't understand if the people hate their watch designs, the quality offered, or they are simply influenced by the content creators hate. But what I do understand is that they offer off-the-shelf ETAs or Solita movements asking for a watch at least $10,000. And because of that, people call Hublot as the Invicta of the rich people, being rumored to be marketed and associated with wealth and important influential people. But which luxury brand doesn't want to do that? Moving into top 3, we have Le Crème de la Crème. Invicta, which is one of the most hated brands all time, period. They were actually the pioneers of making bad quality quartz Rolex homages, but it was one of the few brands which reached all the corners of the world with their products. And after their adventure of making Rolex homages, they moved their focus making ridiculously oversized watches, like all of them were supposed to be worn by Shaquille O'Neal, which happens to be Invicta's image. And more than that, the brand is currently taking care of destroying the legendary brand Glycine, which started to launch Lil monsters lately. However, there was a spike in the market for Invicta once with the launch of the Prodiver 1953, and people weren't all of a sudden against Invicta's principles. This diver being quite popular among the YouTube audiences, being instantly sold out after the launch. And I have to be fair, it was an honest watch for $100. The release of the Blancpain X watch came up on the bad image created by the Moonswatch, and people insta hated this model despite the fun diving design of the watch. And this time, branding wise, it was pretty clear that Swatch was selling a Swatch, not a Blancpain. I personally received a lot of hate when I did the review, and I can't blame the people. After the disappointment of the Moonswatch, the queues and the idea of owning an Omega for $250 was pretty heartbreaking for some. And in my opinion, this was the second most hated watch of the year. The king of hate must have been the Swatch X Omega project, the famous Moonswatch. And with such a review nowadays, no matter how you position the model, you'll receive 360 degrees hate because this created a lot of heartbreaks and wounds on the watch community. I assume it was too much hope at the launch and too much disappointment after. Either because the unavailability or the fragile watch, or simply because it wasn't considered a genuine Omega. And yes, some people thought they bought an Omega. And the rest is history. These models were sold in the beginning for bigger money than a real Moonwatch, because exclusively collecting is more important than what you collect. It's important to have it. And despite all these things, the Moonwatch was sold in over 1 million units since its launch. The goal of this video was to unveil a bit of flavors which are going on in general in the watch communities, so hope you enjoyed it. And I'm really curious to know what would have been another candidate for this list of love-or-hate watch brands. Please let me know in the comments below. And as usual, if you're new around, please consider subscribing for future episodes. Thank you very much. Thanks for watching, and until next time, be brave and stay safe.